Hello, Tungsten Miner here. Get out of the way, horse. I have been working on this house some more, and as you can see, I have finished the foundation layer. Now, there's some more foundation layer to be put on top of this, but I thought I'd walk around a bit and show you how this came together. So here I've been using concrete, which is a material from Chisels and rather from Earthworks. So if we look that up, concrete. Now you can see this mod pack has a lot of concrete. Chisel adds some concrete. There's a DecoCraft concrete barrier. Immersive Engineering adds some concrete. And they all have different recipes and work slightly differently, but I decided to go with the Earthworks concrete block because it looks actually the most like concrete, to my eye anyway. So the way you make this stuff is recipe, there we are. 2 blocks, sand and gravel, plus lime plaster. Now, lime plaster itself is made from combining slacked lime with sand. The sand is just you get 4 of them from a block of sand, and the slacked lime you get from quicklime and water, and the quicklime you get from roasting chalk dust. And chalk dust is something you can find just by breaking up chalk blocks out in the world. So it's kind of involved. Get your chalk dust, put it through a furnace, combine that with water, combine that with sand, and then combine that with sand and gravel. And that gets you concrete. But the materials multiply as you do this. So you wind up producing quite a lot of concrete for relatively not a lot of input material. So then I went around and I started placing them down using chisels and bits to get a footer, which is 3 bits less than the width of 1 meter. And then I came in again by another 3 bits, and that gives you the wall. And so I went around, lined up the wall underneath where all the dirt blocks had formerly been, and got myself some regular concrete walls. And then just proceeded to go all the way around every single room and do that for all the different ones. And here at the end, as I said before, I brought that across and then all the way up again. So now I've got a concrete floor plan in the basement. The next thing I did was to go up here and fill in this little gap between the next meter over and this meter where the wall exists. So up until the top meter, it's all just plain dirt, and I filled it in as I went along so that things weren't too cumbersome. And then this last layer I filled in with gravel, because it's actually kind of a common thing to do in real world houses, to have a layer of gravel or something that's going to help wick away any water or moisture that gets next to the foundation. The next thing I started to do was to add in some flooring. Now again, I wanted to be as true to life as possible, so I started by putting in some rafters and beams and then support pillars. And then on top of that, I just chose some birch planks, put that through the chisel mod to get this pattern, and then put down a 1-bit tall layer to be the subflooring. And as you can see, that's stretching from one rafter to the next. And then finally I decided, hey, this room is going to have a tile surfacing as an actual floor. And that's another 1-bit wide. So in order to get all this to fit in the right places, I started by saying, okay, this tile layer, this top layer of the actual surfacing is going to be 1-bit tall. So subtract 1 bit from along the wall there to go down and find my heights of things. Then I knew I was going to have this layer of subflooring. So subtract another bit for the subflooring. And then I knew I wanted the rafters, to be 4 bits tall. So subtract another 4 bits. And then finally, I knew that I wanted the support beam to be 8 bits tall, so I've subtracted another 8 off of that. And when you tally it all up, that gets you all the way down to the edge of 1 meter. So the flooring above still takes up 1 whole meter, but is much more elaborately done and much more true to life. And then finally, I added in some regular support posts. And then this footer here is actually the same footer It's the same width across, just square, so that this guy has something to rest upon. So this is going to be my plan for the whole rest of the flooring here. Now, when I get to doing walls, what I'll probably do is start putting down wooden members along the tops here, and then build up the joists and all the other kind of internal elements that a wall would normally have, and then start filling in the outer skin, just like I've done with 1 bit wide pieces. So I'll probably have the 4 wide here, and then I'll have some kind of surfacing on both sides, the inside and the outside. And I'll probably have this concrete come up a little bit further. It's a pretty common thing on most houses that the concrete foundation extends a good couple of inches above the level of the ground. And this is mostly to keep insects and other things from getting at the siding or the wood or whatever it is that the house is made out of. So, pretty good progress. This took a lot of concrete, as you can imagine. So there's lots of trips around to find gravel and sand and whatnot. And if you look at my map here, you can see some of my journeying. Of course, sand I was getting from this beach nearby. And then gravel, well, I took my horse all the way around the island, and there's only this little bank of gravel all the way down here. So every time I found I needed more gravel, I had to make the trip cross-country to go all the way down there to get it. Fortunately, I was wise enough to get a bunch when I went down there, and I only had to make 2 trips because I guessed wrong. But that gave me pretty much everything I needed. I've been starting to grow some spruce trees. I decided that I like the look of spruce for the joists here, so that's what I've been doing for that, and I'll need a lot more of that material. And then if I'm going to do the subfloor out of birch, I'll probably need to be growing some birch trees to get that material as well. And then finally, thinking towards realism, just to get the proportions right. Now, I'm not trying to get this to some exact engineering specification here, but I kind of figured, all right, well, probably not more than 5 meters span for something lightweight like this that's holding up a floor, and maybe not something more than 10 meters span for this kind of thing, which is a bit thicker. And so I wound up deciding, okay, yeah, it looks about right to have 2 support posts in the middle here, and then have the rest of the stuff have a smaller span. So of course, as I get into a room like this one, where everything's much narrower, I'll probably just have these rafters go straight across, and maybe not have a support pillar at all. But over here, where it's an enormous room, I'll probably have maybe 1, 2 rafters and then a bunch of support stuff. So we'll see what I decide to get to when I get that far. Anyway, that's what I've got for this time around. Of course, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be publishing more videos as I make more progress on the house. And go ahead and hit that like button if you like this video. Talk to you later.